Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're putting a wellness trend under the microscope that's not only all over social media, but also has a history that goes back thousands of years. We're going to separate the real science from the hype when it comes to castor oil. And yeah, this is so not a new fad. People have been using oil from the Ricinus communis plant for, well, millennia. I mean, in ancient Egypt, they used it for everything from fuel for lamps to treating eye irritations. Now, fast forward to today, and you can find its derivatives in skincare, medicine, and even industrial stuff like lubricants and biodiesel. So, with a history that long, you'd think its benefits would be pretty well established, right? But what does modern science actually have to say about it? Let's dive in and pull apart the scientifically proven facts from what's just popular fiction. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with what the research really backs up. Turns out there are 4 key benefits of castor oil that have some solid scientific evidence behind them. First up is probably its most famous, or maybe infamous, use as a really powerful laxative. In fact, this is the one use that's fully approved by the FDA for relieving constipation. So how does it actually do that? Well, when you take it, your small intestine breaks it down into something called ricinoleic acid. This acid then directly stimulates the muscles in your intestinal walls, and that gets things moving, and fast. It works so well that it's sometimes used to clean out the bowels before a medical procedure. But, and this is the really critical part, this is for occasional short-term relief only, and it should always be under medical supervision. You don't want to mess around with this. All right, benefit number 2 is a bit gentler. Let's talk about its role as a natural moisturizer for your skin. And the star of the show here is once again that ricinoleic acid. It's a type of fatty acid that's just fantastic at preventing water from escaping through the outer layer of your skin. This makes castor oil a really popular natural alternative to a lot of store-bought lotions, which, can be packed with all sorts of additives. Now, if you're going to use it on your skin, this slide shows you the right way to do it. You can't just slather it on, because some people can have an allergic reaction. So you should always dilute it with what's called a carrier oil. Think coconut or almond oil. And most importantly, do a little patch test on a small area of skin first, just to see how your body handles it. Moving on to our third science-backed benefit, and this one might actually surprise you. Castor oil can play a part in helping wounds heal. Now hold on, this doesn't mean you should go putting it on a paper cut. We're talking about specific clinical uses. For example, ointments like Venilex, which has castor oil in it, are used to treat chronic wounds like pressure sores. See, the oil helps create this moist, protective layer that keeps the tissue from drying out, and that's super important for healing. And that ricinoleic acid we keep talking about, it might also help cut down on inflammation. But, and this is a big one, you should never, ever apply it directly to an open wound without talking to a doctor first. And finally, for our fourth proven benefit, we've got one that I bet you probably didn't see coming. It can help keep dentures clean. Seriously, research actually shows that soaking dentures in a solution with castor oil can be super effective. It's got these powerful antifungal properties that help kill off common bacteria and fungi, especially the Candida species that just love to grow on denture surfaces. This can seriously reduce the risk of getting a painful mouth infection called denture stomatitis, which causes all sorts of inflammation and redness for a lot of people who wear dentures. Okay, so we've covered the proof, but now it's time to tackle the biggest claim of them all. The one that you have no doubt seen a million times on social media: hair growth. And the theory sounds pretty plausible. The idea is that since castor oil is such a good moisturizer, it can lubricate the hair shaft, right? That makes it more flexible, less likely to break, and in turn, could make your hair look fuller and healthier. It kind of makes sense. But when we put that really popular claim under the scientific microscope, the evidence just isn't there. There is literally no scientific research that backs up the idea that castor oil stimulates hair growth, or thickens your eyelashes, or reduces hair loss, or even treats dandruff. Sure, it might add some shine, but it's not going to actually make your hair grow. In fact, it gets a little worse. For people with long hair, there's a rare but very serious risk. It's a condition called acute hair felting, and it's where the hair becomes this twisted, tangled, hardened mass, almost like a hard bird's nest. And in those cases, the only thing you can do is cut the hair off. So that's something to be extremely careful about. So before you even consider using castor oil for any of its proven benefits, it is absolutely essential that we go over the safety warnings. Okay, think of this as your non-negotiable safety checklist. First things first, if you are pregnant, you have to avoid taking it orally. It's so good at stimulating muscles that doctors actually use it to induce labor. Second, if you have any kind of GI condition like appendicitis or IBD, just stay away. And third, and this goes for anything really, never use it to treat a medical issue without talking to a doctor first. And even if none of those big three apply to you, you still need to know about these other potential side effects. If you take it orally, it can cause things like diarrhea, cramping, and even dizziness. And like we said before, if you use it on your skin, it can cause allergic reactions. So, after looking at all the evidence, the proven stuff, the myths, and the risks, what's our final verdict on castor oil? Where do we land? This little scorecard really breaks it down perfectly. As a laxative, the evidence is strong. It's FDA approved, but it's only for short-term supervised use. As a skin moisturizer, the evidence is moderate. It can be a pretty good natural option, but you have to do that patch test. And for hair growth, the evidence level is basically none. It's a huge claim that is completely unsupported by science. And this all brings us to a final thought, one that applies to way more than just castor oil. In this age of viral trends and quick fixes, is trying the latest thing really worth the risk if you don't check with a professional first? Your health is always, always worth that extra step. Thanks for joining us.